They shot up his Ford Bronco just north of Toronto. The suspect had on a mask and an all-black poncho. He grew up in poverty with dreams of the lottery. From a single-parent household, his mother's eyes was watery. At the top of his game, he got shot in the brain. And once he got popped, the block wasn't the same. This is the home of the CN Tower, and we don't raise no cowards. You want to party all night? Be at the after hours. You want to settle that beef? There's blood in the street. There's undercover police for every two big thief. You want to overreact? You get your shit pushed back. In the heart of the city, little kids pushed crack. In the back of the alley, in the all-black Denali. It's about where you at, and we don't dilly-dally. Because this is where I live, and I tell it how it is. It ain't right to see a black man doing the bid.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Righteous.
What's going on?
It's been a while. It's been a while in the making, bro. This has been a while in the making.
Well, thank you for having me.
Hey, I thank you for having me, bro. I thank you for having me for sure. So check this out. First, I would like you to introduce yourself, bro. I think a lot of people take your name as for granted, but it's one of the most impressive things. When you and I first met, I heard your name, Righteous. Explain to me how you got that name, and explain to me what is the meaning behind it.
Well, Righteous is my name. You know, part of the nation of gods and earths, and you know, knowing who I am and having knowledge of self is what led to me becoming righteous. You know, I'll just say that much. I'll leave it at that. It's not my rap name.
Okay.
Right? So a lot of people confuse and think it's a rap name and it's something cool. It's very cultural. You see what I'm saying? And so that represents how I see myself, right? Righteous means to be morally correct or right and exact, right? So that's who I am as a person, right? If you want to say a so-called rap name, it's the Administrator of Truth. Okay. Though you don't really hear me say it. I think I might have said it on a record in 2004, maybe. Something like that. Shout out to Born King of Asiatic. It was a record, that was the first time I actually used that on record. But, you know, and it's funny because, you know, when you look at the meaning of administrator, it's someone who running a business. Just right. That name. And, you know, just some of the ventures, it kind of reflects who I am as a person. But I don't really put it out there. I just, you know, not to confuse people, it's just Righteous Allah.
Okay. So, how long you been doing this? How long you been cooking? I know you're a man, you have your hands in different pots. So explain to me first, I know you have a radio station. And then what else do you do? I know you rap and stuff as well. But explain to me exactly how everything ties into what you do.
I've been making records for 30 years. So 2023 will be 30 years. The first record I made was in 1993. It was on a compilation called Mass Destruction. Shout out to my man Vengeance. It was a song called Flex and Flavor. Those who were in the Toronto area at that time would know what I'm talking about. You know, started making records from that point, but was performing way longer than that. But the goal was always just to make a record.
Okay.
So for me, 50 years from now, I'll still be rhyming.
Right.
It's about the music and the culture for me. It's about hip hop. This is what I do. So I never look to try and become some kind of superstar.
Okay.
You know, so it's a hobby. But it's very therapeutic, and I still do it.
Yeah.
Right. So you know, I'm not gonna front though. You know, who wouldn't want to travel the world and get paid off of something that they enjoy doing?
Absolutely. So what type of, if you were to basically find your similarities in another artist or artist that you looked at that helped motivated your sound, that brought up who Righteous was, that assisted in the development of Righteous, who would you name and why?
There's so many to mention, man. You could say anybody from the 80s. Okay. Basically anybody from the 80s, because I'm going to miss. I mean, there's certain key artists, you know, that probably everyone's favorite from the golden era, you know, whether it be Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions, Houdini, Fat Boys, Run DMC. Shout out to my man Abu Valor. There's so many artists out there that just been an influence. You know, it's like asking me who my top 5 is. I don't have a top 5.
You don't have a top 5.
You know what I mean? I love hip hop. So, you know, it's coming to an understanding because I can have my 5 favorites and say, but is it really? And what era? Right? What era are we talking about?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, you know, I don't, on a personal level, I might kind of venture out there and say who, but I'm glad that I was able to do songs with some of the individuals that I looked up to over the years.
Okay, all right. And what about like for instance, if I were to ask you right now, right, like from the Canadian hip hop scene, you've been up here for like back and forth. 30 years, you said? 30 years in between?
Longer than that. But yeah. So I didn't mean to throw. What was the question?
No, if you said you've been doing this for the past 30 years.
Making records.
Back and forth. So your first record obviously was done in the U.S. So
No. Everything was done in Canada.
Beautiful.
Everything was released out here. I've never had there's some stuff that's been released out there, but they were on compilation albums. Shout out to my man Shakiji, Zulu Nation.
Right.
Damn, he gonna kill me for this. He put out a compilation. Who was on it? Qasim Allah was on it. I think Sadat X and Grand Pooba was on that compilation. For whatever reason, it's bugging me. I think it's called Got Next. Mm-hmm. It was like a green colored cover, and it had myself and Faith Walker and my man Wasan on it. That was sometime within the past 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Right? So that was one, and then there was another one within the past 2 years. But other than that, the opportunities for records, anything that I did record in New York never came out. Oh. May come out eventually, you know what I mean? Or some records did come out, but it came out on my label.
Okay.
Right? I've always been an independent artist. I've never signed a major deal.
Okay.
Right? So.
All right. So something I've always wanted to find out, what gave you the inspiration for your radio station though?
Not being played. Not being played. There's a lot of artists have to go elsewhere to try and get their record played, and you put in all this work, and I'm getting played everywhere else, but I'm not getting played where I live. It just okay. Right. You look at a situation where I'm not gonna. Maybe I should name the radio station, but you look at Canada. I think it's on the left-hand side of the dial. I don't know the station right now. I don't listen to it much, but I listen for 6 hours, and and they say Toronto's hip hop and R&B, but all I hear is soca and reggae. How are you Toronto? How are you Toronto's hip hop and R&B?
Right.
When you and not that I'm knocking soca and reggae. I mean, if you're gonna say Toronto's black music,
right,
I'm all for it.
Right.
But why are you saying Toronto hip hop and R&B?
Yeah.
Like I just don't understand.
It don't make any sense.
And you might hear one record, salute to Drake, and all the power to him. But there's other artists.
Yeah.
There's so many artists that I can go down the list. There's some releases that are, and I'm not talking about me. They don't have to play my record so they can get mad at me because they never play my record anyways, right? There's some artists out there that have some records out that's doing noise worldwide, and there's nobody coveraging. There's no coverage or no playing. So why? Like, what's going on, right?
Would you say that's part of the reason why hip hop in Canada hasn't really grown? The fact that they don't give they don't give leeway to the local music, the local talent first?
I don't know if it's hard to say if it's grown or not, because I mean, look at it's a $1 billion industry. You know, a lot. I mean, from Drake to Tory Lanez, however you may feel about them, right? They're great examples of individuals who made it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's what's happening back home.
Yes.
Why is it? And even that station that I'm speaking about that says they're hip hop and R&B, you know. Their frequency, I can't listen to it out here where I live. Right. So why is it that, you know, black music is the biggest and hip hop is one of the biggest, or maybe the biggest, so-called rap is the biggest genre? And where can people go? I mean, there's, you know, a lot of different platforms. However, you know, some of those platforms that individuals would really like to be on, they're not on. Right, and DJs just don't break records. The whole purpose of being a DJ, from what I see, is you break records.
Interesting though, that's true though. DJ's job used to be that before, but now it's just changed. Now it's just the streaming service, and that's it. This interesting perspective. If you with your experience right now and what you have gathered over a period of years, what would you say be the number one thing that Canadian hip hop is missing? In my perspective, I think it's marketing. I think marketing is horrible here when it comes to local artists. I mean, we could do everything else just like the U.S. can, but I think actual entities to help push the visibility of the artist is a problem. What do you think is missing?
I think a number of things. A lot of the blacklisting, a lot of the hatred towards one another as artists, no unity coming together. You know, stop begging for a structure when we could build a structure ourselves, right? You know, there's a disconnect between the young and the old. There's a number of things why I would say that, you know, would be challenges for artists, right? And time again, those artists, you know, from Cardinal down, they went elsewhere, right? So they might yell Toronto all day, but you know, it's where's the structure? Where's the structure? So you can market all day, and you can make it elsewhere. I mean, the independent market, the way everything's set up, someone could know you elsewhere, and you could do well elsewhere, right? But coming back home, then what is it?
Okay.
Right. So. Well,
I know from you and I speaking behind the scenes, I know you told me I've done music with Koji Rap, Craig G, Big Shug, and some other different artists I know. But which track or which song in your life you think embodies who you are as Righteous?
All of them.
So there's no one that basically that has that's dear to you.
My music is an extension of me, right? You know, I'm writing. Most of my songs is based off of experience, or it's an art form. So I want to come with something witty, right? As witty as possible.
Nice.
So, you know, it's an art form for me. It's therapeutic. So it depends on what mood I'm in. I'm always looking to do better than the last project.
Okay.
Right? Every project, you know, I just want to get better. You know, when I have somebody recite back my lyrics, it's like, and they say it made their day, right? Or when I do a show and people come up to me and they like, yo, what you said meant a lot, right? That's meaningful to me.
Understood.
Right? So, yeah, it's just an extension of me, right?
Okay. Well, I know you spoke about Faith, your wife. I will have her as your wife. She was a very huge impact on your life when it comes to music, whatever it is. Some of the music I've heard that you did was quite beautiful by chance. Do you think, you know, you would ever bring some more from music to the forefront?
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. It's in the plans. It's in the plans.
All right. So I have another question for you though. So you're a guy who's a guy with your type of hip hop historian mindset, right? What rapper you believed really helped cultivate hip hop in your eyes? No, but which one to you that said to you, yeah, this dude is being innovative and he's actually pushing the boundaries here. Which rapper for you did that?
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot. Now, if you're gonna say what artist or what MC influenced me probably the most,
yes,
at a time it would have been KRS-One. When I first heard South Bronx, I was like, wow, I'm like the biggest MC Shan fan. And I was like, did he just diss Shan? Who is this dude? He didn't mention Shan's name. What? South Bronx? And I couldn't stop listening to the cassette. I had a Walkman, and I would just listen. It was Houdini and Criminal Minded.
Yeah.
Those two albums, it was just at that time for me, right? You know, a lot of what I do is very also influenced by Houdini.
Right. Houdini was dope. Houdini dope.
Just a lot of the structure of my songs, you know, when people look at my career, then they'll understand why. And, you know, you look at Ecstasy and its flow.
Right.
So a lot of times I think I'm a flower.
Okay.
Right? And that's where that flow come from. But, you know, there's so many influences. You know, I can list off, you know, Brand Nubian, Poor Righteous Teachers, obviously Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah. There's so many, Lord Finesse. It doesn't stop. Buckshot Shorty. The list goes on. You know, so
I know you and I, we connected on a song together, right? What made you, what compelled you to really look at my music? What you thought about my music and us working together?
It was everything, your delivery, the music.
Yeah.
I think I seen your, I think it was the video I seen, I'm trying to remember what it was called, Dopamine.
Yeah.
And it was on S's Facebook page.
Yeah.
I'm like, when did S release this? Because I didn't even know it was your song.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, and I heard, and it went together.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, then I seen something else by you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is that same dude. Oh, this is that same dude. And I can't remember how we connected, but I think I might have reached out to you.
Yeah, you reached out to me.
And I was like, listen, you know, I got the show. Do you want to do an interview because I'm feeling your music?
Yeah.
And then that was it.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, I won't lie though, but it's funny how life works because actually I got introduced to you through S. S is the one. And when S put me onto your music and I started, and when he put me on your YouTube page and stuff like that, I won't lie though. To me, you were doing something that a lot of local artists here weren't doing, is that they were sharing. You know what I mean? I think you're a guy who has a big heart. You know what I mean? You opened up to us and you gave us opportunity to play our music and be heard on your radio station, and for that we really appreciate that. I think that's one of the biggest things that really drew me to you after your music was the fact that, you know, you got a big heart. You're not selfish with your shit, and that means a lot to me, you know. So I really hope that, you know, we could also benefit in the future together as whatever ventures we do as we going forward.
Absolutely.
Another thing too, bro, what is the latest project you have going on right now though? Like what do you have in the chamber right now? What are the plans for Righteous right now in the next few weeks, next few months, next year? What 2023 is like for Righteous?
Nothing I could really expand on really right now. I mean, there's a lot of music coming. I'm in the studio recording spring, early summer. I will have a release. You know, we're putting the final touches on it. You know, my last official release is and the Devil Is, as you can see on the t-shirt.
That was a nice project.
You know, it's still available on all platforms.
Yeah, that was a nice project.
You know, I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate, you know, when people go and listen to it and they're shocked by it. You know, I wanted to bring something different. You know, a lot of people ask me, you know, what they think the cover is. I mean, actually, I'm gonna ask you the question. What do you think this cover is? What do you see in this cover?
Honestly, when I looked at that cover before, it looked like something from Stalin in their era. Like, you know, a lot of those dictators from back in the early 50s, 40s with war and stuff. It's very colonialized though. You could tell there's a lot of well, the fact you see the generals and all that prospect, it look like a war front, basically, when I say that. So it look like a bunch of generals, looks like a war front.
So this is a depiction of the Berlin Conference in 1884, where they decided to cut up Africa. Right? And so I just kind of wanted to make a statement where maybe some discussion could happen about what this picture is. And, you know, that was basically, it was me making a point, right? And I try to put something where it's art at the same time with my music, right? So I think I really touched on a lot of things on my track called As If, which is the second track on the album, or the EP. And yeah, it's you know, I could say it's one of my favorite releases. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely one of my favorite releases. You know, as I said, the next one, you know, I'm hungry for it, and I'm like, okay, this one's gonna outdo the last one, right? So we'll see.
All right.
I just know that in 10 years from now, you could listen to it and you'll still have the same feeling. And that's how I feel with a lot of my projects. Maybe not the early ones, or you know, there's stuff that hasn't been released that when people hear it now, they're like, oh snap. Shit. It's like brand new to them, right? So
I was having a conversation with Pro the other day when we were interviewing Pro and whatnot, and something really stuck out with me with you and Pro and Donnie, how your relationships are, how y'all met and y'all put together. What I would like to know is that from when you hear the type of music being produced between you, Pro, Donnie, all right, do you think it's something that, I personally think is something that the business is missing? I think we have lost the way when it comes to lyricism and actual content that guides. Do you think that is making a comeback though? Do you think that From If It Was come back?
No. This is what I would say, and typically what I would get from someone who used to listen to hip hop maybe, I only listen to the 90s. I like 90s boom bap. That's what I typically hear. Right? Oh, I don't listen to none of that new stuff. And I find that most of them are referring to either maybe trap or sometimes mumble. And I mean, I don't do it anymore, but for a few years, I was maybe reviewing at least 200 albums a year.
Ooh.
And the amount of music and talented artists out there, they just don't get, it's not really even just a Toronto or Canada thing. This is hip hop worldwide. There's the amount of talented artists out there that just don't get played, and it's not on mainstream. So it's like the Chitlin Circus, right? If I'm saying the word correctly, Chitlin Circus, right? You know, you have these online radio stations who will play your stuff. There's so many out there. It's just nowhere to go. There's a whole market worldwide, right? There's several different DJs and platforms that you could go as an independent artist. You just have to make sure your business is straight. And there's people doing it. There's people who are very successful. It's you know, not about the streams. You're not getting paid off streams.
No.
Are you doing shows? Or, you know, is the business right? Are you getting paid? Your merch. There's so many things you have to have your hands in as an artist now. It's not just the music.
Yes.
So
I really appreciate it. Thank you for inviting us to your humble abode, and Godspeed, buddy.
I just want to say one thing. Excuse this for a hot second.
Kick it off, buddy. Real is real.
So make sure you tune into allthelivehiphop.com. You know I gotta plug the station, and shout out to Ron Nelson. Because you asked me a question, I didn't really expand on it.
Okay.
Shout out to Ron Nelson, because he definitely probably would be the biggest influence for what I do. And he played everybody. He was the first person to play me on the radio. Right? And so this is why I don't do the politics. I play everybody. Good music is good music. So I'm going to just leave it at that. I just wanted to say that. Shout out to Too Rude. Shout out to DLK, Analog, everybody. Peace, love, and having fun. Peace, unity, love, and having fun, and peace. That's all I'm going to say.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate everybody. Thank you very much, buddy. Thank you. Hey, this your boy Len-Dor here, back again with another 2023 banger. My boy Righteous came through and gave me a fly-ass interview, man. Check his music out. Also check out his radio station, Allthelivehiphop as well. Dude got mad features, Big Shug, Sir X, you name it. Every household name that we grew up on, dude got it. So stay tuned for the next episode coming through. Much again, peace and love. Thank you for being there for your boy and sticking with your boy in 2023. Always keep it locked. Rhythmic Solace. Oh, by the way, I launched my company this year, Len-Dor. We do music videos and interviews. So any artist who wants to boost up their resume or want a dope ass music video, please contact us by the number below or via email as well. Peace.